too like physically demanding. So I feel like I can like depend on this career for like a really long time, and it will also be like stable.
Thank you. Last, Levi, if you can read what makes, sorry, the third one, please, and your feedback. Hello.
Sorry, I was muted. What makes you nervous about this profession? The only thing I would say makes me nervous is coming across a certain problem that maybe I never covered. I don't have the right tools to resolve. That's the only thing I can really say makes me nervous, not being able to also help someone who needs requires my help. So yeah, I think that's the only thing that makes me nervous.
Okay. Thanks. So yeah, definitely. I know at first a lot of people get nervous and excited when we get into a new position. Even if we know our job, getting just the ropes of who we're supposed to be contacting, because sometimes we don't even have the rights to do certain things. Even though we may know how to reset a voicemail, we may not have the rights to do that. So we need to reach out to the correct people. Same thing, we're going to change something on a proxy server or a server itself. Maybe we do have the access, but we're not the ones responsible, so we're not supposed to be doing that. We need to know who those contacts are and the procedures. So I know it can be very nervous thing, and the first thing is obviously we need to do is reach out to our counterparts. So hopefully there's other technicians out there in the field, or if not, obviously your supervisor or some documentation, especially the Fortune 500 companies. They usually have written documentation step by step, believe it or not, of common issues and resolutions to your problem. So back to the other one where I was saying a password reset, right? So they want you to fill out a ticket and say, but at the same time, they want to say, what is it that you did? So they might have a little search that says, password. You put that in there, and then it says step by step what you did. Then it's going to have probably X's on this template saying, hey, I reset so-and-so's ID, but so-and-so would probably be like a bunch of X's, so that you could just change the X's to the person's name, so it could be standard, and everybody has a clear and concise picture of what you did and what is expected. Even the resolution itself will tell you how to fix the problem if it's not just doing a voicemail reset, or maybe you don't even know how to do a voicemail reset. It'll probably tell you exactly which server it is, where you need to log on to, and what is the local admin to that server. All those types of tools and procedures are unique to each company that you go to. Thank you for the feedback and your help there, Levi. All right, so information technology, or simply put, IT. For us, we say IT because we all at this point know what that letter or letters mean. We want to refrain at all times from using jargon, especially the words that we use between each other. Me and you can say IT to each other because we're fully aware of what those letters mean. If you're talking to a user, you want to make sure that you use the whole name, right? So you would use information technology. You will use the actual, the central processing unit. You wouldn't go and say CPU unless if you know that they know that and they're more or less at the same level. I will refrain from using any fancy words with users. Try to stay at their level and keep the language at their level, as simple as possible. We don't need to go hard detail and say, oh yeah, you have a problem in the registry on this sector, your drive. No, that's unnecessary. If you're having problems with your hard drive, we're going to be able to try to resolve it, and we'll get back to you by tomorrow afternoon exactly, where you're going to stand. So don't give them all the details that they're not going to be able to decipher. Justin, if you can help us out with this one.
Alrighty. Facts from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment of computer and information technology. occupants is projected to grow 13% from 2016 to 2026, faster than the average of all occupations.
Thank you. That is correct.
Do you want me to read the whole thing?
No, that's exactly it. Thank you. So
Okay.
one thing I want to make sure I strongly say, like I said yesterday, technology continues to grow. So is our field. We are a shortage, just as doctors unfortunately are now in this epidemic. We are a shortage. There's not enough people that are going into the technology field. At the same time, our field will be the one that gets the highest paid, usually. You'll notice if you ever get into some of these companies that sometimes you're even making more than your boss. No lie. You'll see that in some of the stuff that we're about to see. Depending on the field and where you are in IT, especially in the programming side of it, you will get paid a very large sum. And the average mean you'll see here is that the annual salary is about $82,000. That's just in May. While the regular annual for anybody else, this is the median. In other words, the middle is $37,000. So we're more than doubled, almost triple the amount is the median salary for any IT field. This is just going to continue to grow, especially now with the Internet of Things that is out there. Anybody can tell me what an Internet of Things is? One of the most dangerous things they ever came up with. No one?
Internet?
Internet of Things, yes.
Cloud computing's the big one now.
You have it? I'm willing to bet $10 somebody has it in their house.
Artificial intelligence.
Anybody have an iRing? An iRing? Anybody know what that is? Anybody have a refrigerator which has a little diagnostics on it?
Isn't the iRing the digital camera for outside? So
Exactly. That is an Internet of Things. It's one of the most dangerous things that they ever came up with, because I'm willing to bet that you have yet to change the password on that camera. Therefore, any Joe that knows how to hack knows your password. It is the default password on the device. All I have to do is get on your network, and guess what? Those Internet of Things have their own separate network. They're actually broadcasting not only on Wi-Fi, but on their own frequency. And so as soon as they can, since it's always talking on that frequency, they create a mesh. So if I know your ID and password, and I am looking for this device, all I have to do is just install a software that's from that vendor, and I can find your refrigerator, or I can find your camera. I can take control then of your network. Why? Because I just got into your Internet of Things. It is a computer, believe it or not. And now I can use it as a router to get onto your network. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people then have it so that they can see their camera on the internet. So these are things that obviously have created security jobs for us. There's a lot of stuff that now that have been created for security within our field. There's even a master's in security and a specialization in security. There's a specialization for programming, databases, all that we'll see in a minute. So within Jacksonville itself, it has clocked about a 72% expansion overall. This is just since 2001. As you can see here, the estimated salary of a lot of the jobs that were posted when this survey was done, a lot of them are over 80 and 100,000. You have the minimum, more or less, is about $35,000. And these were the companies that they basically looked out for in that area. If we are obviously looking into just the entry level, which is a support technician, you are usually required and expected to have at least a high school degree, A+ certification, and you expected salary right now in Florida is between the range of $12 to $18 an hour, depending obviously on your knowledge and or sometimes even the history of work that you have in the field. Now, obviously, that's entry level. So if we compare that to an entry level of an administrator who, I think the minimum wage is what, $8 an hour now? Is it 7 something in Florida?
Yeah, it's still like 820,
Yeah.
825,
So
something
you're
like that.
looking at $8 an hour. So basically, you know, you're over $4 to $10 an hour more than the average employee. Better than flipping burgers. Here we can have, you'll have obviously this as a reference sheet. I'm not going to read verbatim every single thing here, but as you can see, there is plenty of roles. You have from a computer system analyst to information database analyst. It gives you the job description. So for a medical records IT, he compiles, process, maintain the medical reports. He's got to have a high school diploma, the certifications that they're asking for to make sure that you know the processes of how to handle the actual medical records. Then the same thing, next one for a computer system analyst. For there, you could see the associate's degree and what they're looking for in certification and the expected salary. All these things are to open your eyes that obviously that help desk is not the only thing that's out there. Obviously, it is a stepping stone. At the same time, you'll notice that depending the higher the pay, although they're also asking you for certification, at one point or another, they're going to ask you for a degree. And the more we are open-minded and future-oriented, the more likely we will be able to succeed in obtaining these roles, right? If we want to just keep a job, then we could just go keep a job. If we want to look at where our career can go, I strongly recommend looking at these because obviously after a while of just always seeing other people grow, no company, this is another thing that you need to be realistic about. A lot of people get frustrated because of the fact that they're what they seem to see a glass ceiling in their salary. You have to be realistic. If you are a frontline help desk person, am I going to pay you $120,000 as I am doing with a .NET developer? Doesn't make sense. The work that the .NET developer is doing is generating a lot of money to this company compared to, I understand, yes, you are turning off what they consider the fires, but the degree of knowledge and the type of work that you're doing is considered in the IT field as administrative work. Therefore, it will be considered on the lower end of the spectrum. As you can see here in the higher area, we have the software developers and applications. And the next one is software developers, system softwares, more or less the same. As you can see in these, they require a bachelor degree and they require knowledge of certain languages. These programming languages obviously are used throughout the world. Python has been here since I've got here, and luckily I've gotten back into it recently in this year. Back in the 80s and 90s, I think it was in the 90s, I first started off a little bit with Python, but when C came out, everybody told me, oh, don't worry about Python. Nobody's going to use that. And it is 2020, over 20 years or almost 30 years now that language is still kicking, especially now with it being used within AWS. I don't see it going anywhere. Any questions or doubts on the job title, job description, knowledge, and or expected salary? So Christina, can you tell me what is the difference between a job and a career path? What do you think would be the major difference?
I would say a job is something that's you're probably just gonna stay at till you possibly can, and in a career is you want to move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, it's part of that growth mindset that they're looking for. You're going to see that they're going to be asking you most likely on your yearly revisions, depending on the company again. So don't get me wrong. Don't quote me like if it's written in stone. But those that are serious in you advancing within the actual company, there is a review part where they're asking you where do you expect and what are you going to do about it. The company's going to probably maybe even pay for your college or it may pay for the certification, but what are you going to do about it is also part of their review. Are you really doing your part? Because I've seen people where within UPS, and I was so surprised, they paid for your education up to $25,000, and those people who had all the forms filled out and didn't do anything with it. So I strongly recommend always to look in your career path and make sure you revisit them and make sure that you are going through it. If not, it's just going to be a job, as you just stated, somewhere you are until you can get something better. Next, Julie, how might having a strong future orientation mindset help you more successful on your career path? Kind of hinted on that one. You kind of said it. You could say a little verbatim of what I just said. That's another hint. Anybody want to jump in? Carlos or Daniel? Anybody?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Having a
Oh, okay.
there you go, Carlo. Go.
You can go ahead and you're talking. So.
Okay. Having a strong future orientation mindset, just basically like planning out, like mapping out, like your future for your career path and what you want to do, as whether it's an IT profession, planning out what you want to do in that set of field. Maybe you want to work with Python, maybe you want to work for Java, maybe you want to be a software developer. There's just so many options. You just have to like have that future orientation mindset set up, so you know what your end of goal is.
Anyone else would like to chime in or give their feedback on that one? Thank you. So, as we see here, and kind of verbatim of what was just told to us, career path is not as simple as just a job. It is something that we're looking at, as we stated, help desk, support services, or what they call field services, depending where you go, is where you're starting at. Then you have your mid. And as I was saying, although here and manager is up here, you'll see that sometimes there will be people who are much more getting paid than a manager. We'll see that in a couple of minutes, the actual details of that. But the actual credentials, sometimes in some of these fields, the managers may be required to know all of the information. For instance, I was the portfolio manager within UPS, and I had to basically know everybody's job. If I didn't know everybody's job and how to do everybody's job, I would have never had the position. I was also the PMO program manager within cable and wireless, and the same thing. That was for both of them was for Latin America, the whole Americas region for UPS, and the whole Americas region, all Latin America was under my realm. So I had to have certain certifications, certain knowledge of all of the different aspects, be security, be servers, be telecommunications, be the physical equipment. All that is required from a project manager at that level, compared to just a technician or a team leader who only needs to know in reference to the certain area of computers that they deal with. Any questions in reference to a entry level, a mid-level, or an advanced level in IT career path, or the credentials that will be expected?
Yeah, so I always see that this network CompTIA A plus and security plus, but I don't see the Google IT has support certification, which is new maybe.
That is not currently, I would say, a mandate for anyone.
Okay.
A plus is one of the biggest out there right now, or let me rephrase that. CompTIA as a certification is usually the ones that they're looking for. So they'll look for the CompTIA A plus, the CompTIA Network Plus, the CompTIA Security Plus, the Project Plus. They'll even first look for a Microsoft certified professional engineer before they would go in. That I'm aware of, I've yet to see a mandate of a Google per se IT certification. Thank you. Very good question. Any other questions in reference to the career path and or certifications or credentials that are expected? So, as we can see here, from left to right, I'm not going to go into details again and read every single one. I just want to make sure we understand. We start on the left, which is a high school degree. And you can see there the red, which is the certifications that they're looking for. And this is obviously for user support specialists, usually the help desk, field support, or anything like that. Depending on the bottom, you'll see that there's a little bit more certifications where for the health and the medical records and health information technicians, obviously they need to know all of the rules with dealing with data that is medical oriented. Next level would be the associate's degree. That would be more for a network support specialist. Then they're gonna ask you for those type of the certifications. You have a computer programmer, and those are the range. So you'll see that there's a big jump straight from a person who has a high school degree to a person who is in the next level. It straightly jumps from 18 to 20 on these specialists. We first started off with the actual technician, which we said was 12 to 18, but here comes a specialist who is the next level, 18 to 20, and then you have your network and your programmers are between $30 to $37 an hour. That's just the low level ones. You have your specialist roles. Here again, you have Project Plus, Linux Plus, and various different certifications required depending on what you are. If you're a computer system analyst, if you're an information security analyst, or a database administrator. And obviously a brief description of their roles. Last area here, you'll see that they have the software developers, and you can see again the range. This is just a wages average. This is not set in stone. Once again, that's the average salary of those different roles. So, as you can see here is the area for a help desk role. So when you're starting off in your career path, this is more likely the area that you're going to be. In the middle or upper roles, as you can see, as I stated before, you'll have the help desk manager here in the center. But then if you become a advanced role where you're require a bachelor's and knowing different languages, as you can see, you can get paid much more than the actual manager himself, depending on your knowledge.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I myself already have associates because I'm in the bachelor's program at Miami-Dade. So let's say if I do get the when I get the certification, I can just automatically jump into that advanced level, or will I have to still start from the beginning and then go?
It's a little hard to sometimes get into some of these roles, obviously, into an advanced role without any work history. Now, that is why we try to prepare you for these interviews, so that obviously if you don't have the actual work history, but you have the knowledge, that you are prepared for those type of interviews. One thing that you could do, for instance, in some of these bachelor's and master's degrees, there's projects that they give you to do. So you could use that in what they call my show me file, which is in nowadays, since we're going to most likely do it remote, would be maybe a file or a folder in your computer that has those projects, so that you can say, okay, yes, I know how to put a project together. I know the steps for initiating. I know how to start a project, how to close a project. I know all of the forms required, and here's my project that I created for in school and all the steps that I took. For instance, that might be something. Or I created something for for the United Way, or some type of event that you actually were a volunteer for. That might be something else that you can show. Showing your skills, even of your own site, maybe if you're going to go for web programming and you're going for this advanced role for web, you could show maybe a site that you already created. That's another suggestion to do, obviously. This is obviously to make up and compensate in the lack of work history. If you're going to try to jump into those high roles, a lot of times it's hard from right away. Just fair warning. And the next thing we're going to do is obviously try to do our best to prepare you for those type of interviews, so that if we do lack in work history, we can be able to at least answer them and take doubts out of that interviewer that you are capable or not. They'll be sure by the end of there that you are fully capable on taking on that role. Good question. Thank you.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Remember, please, to state your name.
My name is Pablo.
Okay, cool.
So are you required to have a bachelor's degree, let's say if you want for like a role in a security plus field, or do you still have a chance of like landing the job by just getting the certification of the security plus, or do you must have a bachelor?
In some of these companies, especially the Fortune 500 companies, they will at times require the bachelor's or the experience. So in other words, they might ask for 5 years of experience to compensate for not having a bachelor's.
Or like you said, you think they'll maybe pay for the bachelor's or something like that?
Some of them may pay, so you'll start off maybe as a help desk or a field service, and then they'll start paying for that. I'm sorry, give me 1 second, please. 1 second. Some of these roles, when they state the qualifications, they are going to either ask you for the bachelor's, or they might ask for the actual years and certification. It obviously, if I have, unfortunately, and that's what happens, a lot of these things are ran through an algorithm, or a computer is actually doing these things instead of a human. So if they tell the computer that they're looking for certain things, unfortunately, you will not pop up as a top candidate. So if they're looking for bachelor's, they're looking for so many years, and they're looking for certification, it's going to filter by those users or by those candidates. Make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of these companies are making it now online, and they're using keywords. So that's going to be another thing that we're going to show you guys, that sometimes your resume has to match well, not sometimes, but your resume should match what you're looking for. In other words, it should state some of the key points that they're looking for of what your job responsibilities are. Those will also help you for the questions that they're going to be asking you, so that you can mention maybe during the actual interview some of those key skills that they're looking for. Any other questions or doubts? Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you.
No? All right. So let's see skills to succeed in IT. So we're looking at the middle role, as we know, and then the certifications for A+, network, you got Microsoft certifications, you have Cisco certifications, you have security certifications. All those are for the middle line or the middle people, where they're going to ask a little bit more from the IT person to be able to make sure that they are fully capable of doing their job. The technical skills is help desk, computer repair, as you can see here, VPN, Microsoft applications. Believe it or not, you may not be fixing the application and you may not really need to know how to use them, but unfortunately, there's always an error that we have with users. Users can be actually the actual problem. You'll see that as one of the things when we start learning troubleshooting. It may not be the computer. It could be the user that's creating the problem. For instance, sometimes I've gone into people's computer and they got about 70 windows open. No lie. Guess what? The computer's crashing on them and is running slow. Obviously, I'm not sure if you guys know, but there's just so much memory that a computer has. So the more windows that you open, the more memory you're utilizing and the more resources from the computers need to be used. So the more you have, the slower your computer is going to get. And obviously that's going to create a problem with the user. Now, internally, we have a saying for that, but we'll put that one for later and when we get to that for troubleshooting. So, little exercise for you guys. If you guys can put to me what's the starting role, the middle, and the top, and then more or less the credentials that are expected. Should be able to add that to your notes. You don't have, I'll give you a minute there to start it and then try to fill it out. If you're not able to fill it out, work with each other after class to submit it when inside your notes before you upload it tonight.
And that's from the bottom up, right?
From the bottom up, correct.
So this is the classwork. Okay.
This is part of, well, yeah, your notes is part of the classwork, and there's some other stuff that you'll see there inside your classwork that's expected.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it allows you to go back right now, but if you like, I can go back. I know it's going to allow you when it saves it and it uploads it.
Okay.
Let's see. I think this is the one that we're looking for, right? Should be able to see it in your Nearpod session now. I think when I start changing pages, it forcibly changes the pages on you. Or on the bottom, I think on the bottom, you might have a notes section. You see my screen? You might have a little thing here that you might be able to flip back and forth between your note pages.
When we click on that, it still doesn't like pop up.
Okay, not a problem. Don't worry about it. It'll be there for your. I'm about to shoot it. All right. So it'll be available when you finish uploading. It'll be in your Google Drive, or if you're sending it to yourself by email, and then you can kind of, or if you want to just put it in the notes in this page here, and then copy and paste it over there, however you like. Okay. No major issues. So next, same thing here. On any of the slides, if there's a question, please, as part of your notes, try to answer your questions. I know that I've been calling out some people to answer questions verbally, but please remember to answer these questions for yourself and obviously for me, so that when you upload it, it shows that obviously you were following along and that you participated in class. That's the main reason why, is to be able to show that you were following along, and two is that you understand the content and that you are participating. So let's see, who else can I pick on? Jordan, I don't think I picked on you yet. I could be wrong, but Jordan, if you can help me read the question and basically provide your feedback on it. And everybody else, as I stated, follow along and on your right, answer this question with your expectations or answer, if you agree with him, the same.
What do you think a normal day for an IT professional in a help desk position looks like? Usually they receive tickets for whatever it is that they have to resolve or check on. Then they would consult with whoever the client is, and then they would work to fix whatever it is said issue is.
That's pretty good, yeah. So you kind of tackled the actual thing. So they be most likely triaging tickets, which is basically so you might even hear that sometimes in the medical, when they send you to a triage, now you know what you're going to know what triaging means. Basically is evaluating and seeing what the issue is. So the main things in the life of IT professional is basically dealing with customers, be in person, by phone or email, even remotely. We go physically into somebody else's computer with modern technology. We're able to what they call NetOp or remote desktop, and many other tools are available to remotely administer the actual computer as if you were standing in front of it. The other things that mainly we're dealing is troubleshooting issues themselves, solving the actual tickets. The main thing is triaging tickets. This means you're going to review, analyze, and prioritize the tickets and seeing which one's first. It's not first come, first serve. It's mainly based on the severity of an issue and based on the due date of it too. So even though maybe the severity may be high, not be high, but maybe you had to turn off so many fires that that ticket that originally had 7 days is coming due tomorrow. So now guess what? You can't put it off any longer, and it's due by tomorrow, so you're going to have to do it. Part of what we're doing with triaging tickets is we're going to review, obviously, not only the order, but we're going to let the actual user know. Part of the triaging is saying, hey, writing an email, I received your ticket, and kind of verbatim, this is what you asked for, right? Because the help desk sometimes gives it to the field technician. It's kind of all together in one place. You have the help desk who just answers the call, and sometimes they themselves fix the issue, or sometimes they pass it on to what they call the field technician, which is somebody that might be locally in the city or close to it, or it may be the exact same person having two hats. You'll see that, where it's a guy that's also on the phone, but sometimes he gets dispatched and it goes out to the areas. So lastly is if you need to escalate to a supervisor, you obviously then escalate the tickets needed. The next thing that you will be doing is actually tackling tickets. Tackling tickets means that you're actually solving the issues that come up with the tickets, all right? So anything that deals with reviewing, analyzing, and prioritizing, that's when you're triaging the tickets. So you're getting your day together, you're sending the email out to the users, but when you're actually trying to solve and coming up with the solutions, that's calling tackling. You're touching, you're grabbing it, you're actually doing something with the user. Next, other responsibilities that you usually have is installation and test. So you have projects that you'll be doing of installation of an actual hard drive on a computer, or a brand new computer, a router, a switch, depending what it is, those projects will come out to you. And so not only are you working on tickets to resolve issues, but you're also working on projects to be able to install brand new computers to the whole finance department, as an example. And lastly is respond to issues or respond to those what we call hijacking or issues that are addressed in person requests with a follow-up email, and or educating the user itself. So sometimes these Fortune 500s, like I said, require you to have this case before you're actually working with somebody. So there might be an online form that they can fill out with ease that you could train them. So you're not going to stop and not help them, right? Because a lot of the times they'll tell you don't refuse. You're going to go and just show them, hey, look, I really need a ticket. If we could just fill out and put the information here, submit the form while we're working on this issue here. or even at the end of it, please remember to submit the form and let's go in here so that I can be able to justify my time. If you do not document everything that you're doing and you're not justifying your time, once again, guess who is actually going to check these things? Your supervisor or manager, and he's going to see that Pepe has 20 tickets and you got 5. Who is he going to look at? He's going to look at you and see, why do you have 5 while Pepe was able to do 20 in a week? What is it's taking you so long? And you're not documenting that information. So on top of that, there's a lot of times where they send out surveys. You've seen it many times where maybe on a phone call or when you have a ticket open, they send you a survey afterwards to see how the technician or the person in your phone was able to resolve your issue. So you have to be fully aware. If you only have so many tickets, say you only have 5 tickets versus the 20, if one person out of the 5 gives you a bad remark, you're basically at 80%. Compared to out of the 20, if one gives you, you're at 95. Make sense? So you want to not only make sure you have all the tickets to prove that you're actually working, but it also helps when it comes to those surveys, because when they start providing that feedback, it will affect your raise yearly. Those surveys are used to see how you treat the customers and how, if you are actually following the steps. You'll be surprised. A lot of those surveys see if you actually follow the steps. Did the technician reach out to you within 24 hours of the ticket being open? Sometimes that's a rule, which is part of the triage. You should be you should be contacting them within 24 hours, usually is the maximum amount of time before you're given. Any questions or doubts on the day in the life of an IT professional?
I got a question. This is from Laz.
Okay.
For the surveys, what do you think is the overall average or percentage that the client should like them that your employers are looking at?
Question that all depends on the point system in the survey. So some of them say simple as yes or no. So it's a 1 or a 0. And then that 1 would be maybe the highest. For instance, some of them say sometimes, always, never, like giving 4 options. But usually they tell you up front how that survey system works and how the point system. The ones, for instance, that I was in charge of when I was in UPS, was the highest you can get was a 4. So it all depends on the company and how they do their surveys.
Thank you, Diego.
Not a problem. Thank you for the question. So next here, I'm going to give you guys the 4 corners, but basically we're not going to use 4 corners here. We're going to be using something a little bit different. Give me a sec. Was triaging your tickets, right? You're going to tackle your tickets. You have installation and tests and respond to in-the-moment issues. These are your 4 usual big things that you're doing, right? For troubleshooting. If you can answer inside your notes on the right for each one that that you see here. So I'm going to ask each of you to answer one at a time, and then you guys will all agree and or put it in here on the right hand side on your notes. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 on this one, and I think there's a couple of more on the next one. So we said we have 3 things: triaging tickets, which is this is when the IT professional reviews, analyzes, and prioritizes the help desk tickets to answer which one first, second, etc. And obviously to see if he's going to be escalating to a supervisor if necessary. The second one we said was tackling tickets, which is obviously it involves solving the issues that come up within the help desk ticket itself. The third thing that you might be doing in a day is installing and testing things. And the last thing is responding to in-the-moment issues, okay? So you're gonna put on the side here 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're gonna be answering if it is higher that. So first one I'm gonna
Can
pick
you repeat the
is
second one?
Carlos, number 1. You can read number 1 and see what you believe. Give us your feedback, and then everybody else either put thumbs up or thumbs down on if you agree with him on the answer.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready. Do I start?
Ready. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Amira arrives to work and logs into the ticket management system. He begins opening and scanning tickets to determine which ones he will work on first. He finds one his supervisor needs to see and sends it to her.
So what do you believe that is? Is that triaging tickets? Is that tackling tickets? Is he responding to the moment? Installation tests? Which one you think it is?
I'll be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure it out. What does a triaging tickets mean? Like, I'm still having a hard time figuring that out.
Do you ever go to the hospital and they come and they grab you and they put you in a room and they say to stand on the scale, they take your temperature, and then they go and they put you back into the waiting room?
Yeah.
Well, that's because you've just been triaged. Basically, they went and looked at you and determined how urgent is your issue. Because if you were urgent, from there they would move you right directly into the emergency room itself. Based on that triage, if they decided to put you back into the waiting room, is that you are not an urgent ticket. So that is what basically gets done, is the determination, the determination of how critical or how urgent, because it could be that it's not critical, but it is urgent.
Okay, got it.
Like I said earlier, it could be a ticket that was postponed for so many days that unfortunately now has become urgent, but it wasn't a critical thing because it wasn't that the whole site was down. It was only one user who couldn't use Outlook, but unfortunately you had 7 days to resolve the issue and the 7th day has come. So now it has become an urgent ticket and you have to do it as quickly as possible.
Okay. So it was between triaging tickets, tackling tickets, and what was the other one?
There is triage tickets. You're going to tackle a ticket. There's installation and tests. And then there is respond in the moment. So which one do you think it is? Can you see? No.
Well, since the supervisor is has to see it and like right away, I'm gonna go with triaging tickets.
Okay. Does can everybody hit the button of reactions or whatever it is on the bottom of thumbs up if you agree? Thank you, Lázaro. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Levi, Pablo, Alexa, Kristen. All right, guys. Great, great. I would have to agree. Yes, he is triaging the tickets. Basically, just arrived to log, and he's logging into the actual system itself, and he's scanning and determining what is going first. That is triage the tickets. Good job. Thank you. All right. Let's see, who haven't I picked on yet? Elijah Nay, if you can read number 2 and provide us with your feedback on what you believe, which one it will be.
Okay. Ami merely opens a ticket of a client who called yesterday. He calls the client and helps him solve an issue with his email account. He closes the ticket. Can you remind me of the 4 choices again?
Okay, we have triaging ticket, ticket. We have installation and tests, and then in the moment response.
Tackling ticket?
Okay, does everybody agree or disagree? I guess thumbs up for, I think there's only thumbs up and wave. Thumbs up for yes and wave for no. All right, I see everybody. I got one no and a bunch of yeses, two no's, three no's, four no's. Four no's. So,
is it on the spot tackling?
So Daniel, if you can tell me, why do you think that it's not tackling a ticket? What do you believe it is, and the reasoning of why you believe it's not tackling a ticket?
It was like in the moment kind of thing, because they called yesterday and he helps him solve the issue like immediately, and then right after he closes the ticket.
Okay, so let's read in the moment here real quick. In the moment is when a IT professional addresses in-person requests, follows up with an email or a call. Is that only what he's doing here?
He's also, doing the ticket too, because he's closing it off.
So he closes a ticket, he reopens a ticket, right? What confuses you is that called yesterday. But if he opens a ticket, he calls the user to work and resolve a ticket, what is he doing?
Basically resolving the issue.
And so in the four that we have, which one contains resolving an issue? Is it triaging tickets, tackle tickets, installation and test, or respond to in-the-moment issues?
What was triaging again?
I'm sorry? Triaging is when an IT professional reviews, analyzes, and prioritizes the help test tickets to see which one he's going to do first, second, or last. Or he might escalate it to his supervisor. Tackling tickets is when the technician goes into solving the issue and comes up with a resolution in help desk tickets. Installation and test is usually a project. It could be a ticket that's coming in as a project where the IT is responsible for completing the given project itself, be upgrading a server, a computer, a brand new computer, transferring data. All those may be projects that may be sent to you. And responding to moment issues is what we said earlier, hijacking, where you're just responding to an email, or maybe somebody calls you, or just in the hallway, as we said yesterday, where our boss asked us to go and take Billy Bob around, and all of a sudden Michelle stopped us and hijacked us. So that would have been a respond in the moment for her, because she stopped us in the middle of, and she has no ticket. Key one there, usually in responding to in the moment, is that you have no case or ticket or service order. They're all intertwined depending on the company. Some of them call it tickets, some of them call them cases, and they have the second level, which is a service order being dispatched. They all have the same thing. It's basically a task for the technician or the specialist to complete. So where you're touching tickets will be either triaging them or you're going to be tackling them. So in this case, which one do you think it is? Am I tackling or am I triaging?
Tackling.
Cool. So does everybody else agree on the ones that didn't agree earlier that it is tackling a ticket now?
Thank you, Diego, for that explanation.
Not a problem at all. That's what we're here for. We want to make sure that we all agree. All right, so we got Justin, Alexa, Ahmad, Carlos, all agree so far. Everybody agree? Thumbs up on the little app or physically on the camera? All right, great. Next one, Teresa, if you could read number 3 for us and provide us feedback on what you believe it is, if it's going to be one of those 4, and which one.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Amir moves onto the next ticket. He chats with the client and remotes into her system so he can solve an issue she is having with some software. After speaking with the client, he quickly discusses the issue with a colleague since he has not worked with this issue before, and they come up with a solution together. Amir enters some notes into the ticket management system and closes the ticket. I'm conflicted because it sounds like it can be one or more. It sounds like it could be either like number 4 or it could be number 3. But it's, for me, it seems like more.
Is he being hijacked though? Is he being hijacked? Which would be number 4, where in the moment.
No, because he's talking to his colleague.
Yeah, and what's the first sentence say?
Moves on to the next ticket.
Okay, so it's got to be. There's only 2 ways I can do that, right? It's either triaging or I'm going to tackle the ticket. Although we don't want to get confused, although installation and tests may come in as a project, and in some cases, in some companies, they have a project number associated it. This has nothing to do with tickets themselves, all right? So those project service orders or project tasks are things coordinated usually with project managers or with your boss or somebody. It's not something that you're fixing. It's not something that's going to be planned, a brand new computer that they're purchasing. When it gets there, you got to put it all together kind of thing. So it's got nothing to do with fixing things. So there's only 2 things it could be, either triage or tackle. So which one do you think he's doing?
I think it's tackling.
Okay. Does everybody agree? Is it tackling on number 3? Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, 5 yeses, 6, 7 yeses, 8. Sorry. Nobody
Let
says.
it be in the moment one because he is chatting with the client right now and remotely accessing the computer.
Okay. Is anybody else that has the same? I think DeAndre, you put no. You wave your hand saying no. Do you agree with Ahmad? You think it maybe be in the moment? I think you were the only 2 that waved saying no. DeAndre and.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I think it is ticket tackling since you kind of are solving the problem, but you just like talk about it afterwards. That was the part that confused me.
Yeah, it does get confusing. It's purposely doing that to see, and we make sure that we understand. Although sometimes we may be doing 2 things at the same time, in reality, there is one major thing that's getting done, is that he first is moving on to the next ticket. So it's something that was already assigned to him. So that means it was triaged and given to him, right? Now he chats with the client and remotes into her system. So most likely he's already coordinated and told her he's going to call her today, right? And he's already made her aware that he's going to be remoting into her system. That is very important. Whenever we remote into somebody's computer that we're about to take full control, we should always have permission. So that already tells me that he's already triaged something because he's chatting with her, he's remoting with her, and his first thing it says that he's got a ticket that he's working on. It's not like if he just got an email and started chatting with her on IM. That would have been on us on the moment. And then he basically, after speaking with the client, he basically discusses, and as we stated before, if we do not know the answer, that doesn't mean that I'm going to tell the user, I don't know how to resolve your issue. One thing that you will be surprised and even make a customer smile, you'll be surprised. Is that, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to escalate this with my counterparts and to be able to resolve this issue. Oh, wow, I really messed this up real good. This guy's got to escalate this thing. Now, you're not lying because you're getting help from somewhere else, but you're not telling them that the company and the people that they're calling is unable to do job. key words and how to always speak to customer if you need to be able to discuss something is always tell them, I need to escalate this to this, maybe the server administrator, the telecom administrator, to our specialist or level 2 technician, however you want to rephrase it and how your company would like to hear it. That is something you would tell them. Never tell them you don't know how to do it, or complain of, oh, this is not clear. Don't complain to the customer. So in here, then lastly, he basically, after talks to his counterpart, right, he enters the notes into the ticketing system and he closes it. So he fixes the issue. He's tackling and closing the issue. Tackling means that you're touching it, right? And in here, he physically is working with the ticket. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now, had he maybe looked at the ticket and just passed it on to somebody else, he might have been just triaging it because he saw it wasn't him and he escalated it to somebody else. Had nothing to do with him. He just got the ticket right then and there. Didn't work on it. He just triaged it and sent it to somebody else. Make sense? Number 4. Let's see who else we can pick on here. Oh, that's not the point. Come on. All right. Pablo, I think. I'm not sure if I called you yet, but I'll call you.
Okay. So a client comes up to Amir's desk and tells him about a problem he's having.
No. Well, yeah. Sorry. My fault. I was on the wrong page. Go ahead.
All right. So we got a client comes up to Amir's. A client comes up to Amir's desk and tells him about a problem he's having with his computer. Amir listens to the client and tries to figure out what the problem is. I would say it's more of an in a moment scenario.
Everyone agree? Is this in the moment? Is it triaging? Right. I got a bunch of yeses so far. Yes. One no. Anybody else with a no? Yes. Okay, Jordan. Could you provide us with if it's not in the moment, what do you believe it is then?
Oh no, I think it is in the moment.
Okay, so in the app, the reaction is thumbs up for yes, and if you put the little waving hand, that means no.
Yeah, it was an accident. My bad.
Okay. Not a problem. So everybody agrees. That is in the moment. That's basically what it's saying, right? He just comes up to his desk and tells him about the problem. It's obvious that he doesn't want to be rude. He's listening to him and trying to figure out what the problem is. As we said, most likely he might remind them afterwards to please open up a ticket or something. Thank you for the feedback, and that was one that we all agreed upon. That's a good one. Okay. Next one, let's see who we have here. Justin. Number 5.
Number 5. Amir figures out he can't resolve the client's issue immediately, so he fills out a ticket and gives the client an expected timeline for when he can expect to hear.
So what do you think?
Expect to hear from the help desk. That I believe is.
It's either triage, tackle, in the moment, or installation and test. So which one you think? In the moment?
I believe, yeah, in the moment.
Okay. Does everyone agree? Does it sound like in the moment? Okay, I got 2 no's, 1 yes. 3 no's. 1/4 yes. Okay, I got plenty of no's going on here. Carlos, can you provide us for what you believe it is if it's not in the moment? Which one do you believe it is?
I was leaning towards more of a triage. That's my opinion. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
Everybody agree with him? For those that said no, do you believe that it is triaging the ticket? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we still have one person that thinks no. So, Pablo, I think you said no. So you don't think it's triaging either? So it's not in the moment. It's not triage. What do you believe it is? So Amir figures out he can't solve the client issue immediately, so he fills out a ticket and gives the client an expected timeline for when he can expect to hear from the help desk. So if it's not triaging and it's not in the moment, what do you believe he's doing, or she? It's actually an Amir, so it's a guy, right?
It could be treehousing, but it could also, I mean, maybe be tackling the ticket since he's like solving it right away and gives him an expected
Okay.
an expectation.
So let's read the two definitions real quick. The triage is, this is when an IT professional reviews, analyzes, and prioritizes help desk tickets to answer first, second, third, and so forth, or to escalate to a supervisor or any other specialist if necessary. The second one would be tackle tickets. This is what goes on into solving the issues that come up in the help desk.
Okay, good. So yeah, it would be treehouse.
Okay. So yeah, so triage. So if we look at that carefully, that's basically what's happening here is that he basically received a call in the help desk. Remember, the help desk is allowed when they receive the call to fix your issue. So if it's what they call first time call resolution, I'm allowed, if you call the help desk, open up a ticket and obviously resolve your issue. I'll probably ask you what's your ID, confirm your name, confirm your email, confirm your address and all that stuff, depending on the company. And then I know exactly what is it your problem and attempt to resolve your issue. If I am unable to, at that point in time, while I am triaging you, if I determine that I can't do it or it is not urgent, it can wait kind of situation, then I will then tell you a time and date of when you could expect us to reach out to you. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Christina. The next one. Number
Then
6.
Amir continues with the high priority ticket he noticed that morning. He contacts the client but cannot resolve the issue. He takes notes and makes a follow-up plan.
Okay.
I think it's triaging the ticket.
Does everybody agree? Number 6, triaging a ticket. I got 3, 4 yeses for number 6. Everybody agree? Oh, there we go. Jordan. So you disagree. If it's not triaging, what do you believe number 6 is?
I believe it's tackling because it was already an open ticket and it was already high priority. And this might have just been on his list of tickets that he did triage already.
Good, very good catch. That was a tricky question, wasn't it? So if you notice, he had a priority ticket from the morning. So he's got the ticket. It was created. It was already triaged because, as he just stated, it's got a high priority on it. So somebody, be that it was you or not, already determined the priority of this ticket. And he is attempting to resolve the issue. He's contacting the user and he's noting it on the ticket. So he's touching and feeling this ticket at that moment. So yes, although he wasn't able to reach the user, he did attempt to resolve the ticket, and he's noting it on the ticket itself. So that is considered tackling, because he is not determining when to do it, if not that he wasn't able to complete it, so he's just noting it. Doesn't mean that you always resolve the issue when you tackle the ticket. It just means that you're actually physically working with the ticket and doing something with the ticket besides triaging it, which is the only other thing we can do with a ticket. Good catch, Jordan. Thank you. Next one, number 7, Ahmad.
Amir then attends a meeting to plan a mass software installation.
Okay.
So it is installation one. He is installing a certain project.
Okay. So does everybody agree with him? That would be installation and test of any given project. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So far, yeses, everybody. No nos. Okay. That is correct, Ahmad. Good catch, everybody. That is definitely installation and test. Next one, Levi, number 8. Levi? Levi going once, going twice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Thank you.
All right. Amir returns to his desk and reopens the ticket management system. He calls a client who is having issues with the internal folder sharing network. He resolves her issue and closes the ticket. I say tackling a ticket.
Okay, he says tackling a ticket. Does everybody agree? Number 8. Remember, please, to put in your notes the answers on the side in your notes 1 through 8. You should be putting in these slides. So far, I got all yeses. Everyone agree? Any no's? So far, no no's. So he is tackling or triage?
I said tackling.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can trick you out to saying the wrong answer. All right, yeah, it is tackling tickets. Everybody's right.
Cool.
He's definitely tackling tickets. Good catch. So that's a good exercise. So we could see these terminologies and terms that are going to be used and should hopefully be in your vocabulary. The difference between the 4 things, and obviously one of the no-nos in a lot of the companies are those what we like to call in slang hijacks and or responding in the moment. Doesn't mean you can't do it, and at no point does it mean you can't do it. But if it is something that you're conscious of stating that requires a ticket, always remind the user to open a ticket, because that is your lifeline. That is your job. That is the only way you can justify your work, is these tickets, okay? So companies, as we said, has rules and regulations for the employees. As you saw, Amir escalated 1 ticket to his supervisor. You need to be able to adapt to the new situations, be mindful. We're going to be doing a gallery walk. If we can go into the actual Google Classroom, you'll see the actual gallery walk itself. I'm about to put everybody into a session into different breakout rooms. Please go into Google Classroom, and you're going to be downloading the form if you haven't downloaded it already, which is the gallery walk form, okay? Anybody does not see the gallery walk form in the Google Classroom? It should be inside the T1 session classwork. So we're going to go to classwork, T1, and when we click on T1, you should have 2 documents attached inside T1. Is that correct?
Yes.
Let me pause here the recording, and I'm going to send you guys out to your breakout rooms.
Wording can be different.
As long as it's the same idea and or as long as you guys don't contradict. In other words, if one guy tells me it's blue and the other guy is telling me it's orange, no.
Okay.
If it's light blue and the other guy is saying it's blue, I'm not gonna be marking something wrong.
Okay.
As long as we agree that at least the actual idea is the same, is what we're looking for. It may be easier if you copy and paste, like I said, to each other, send emails of what you believe the answer is, vote on it, and then everybody copy and paste that answer. However you want, we'd like to coordinate that. As long as the answer seems to be the same, then I will accept it. Remember also when you're saving this document and uploading, mentioning which break room that you guys are in. Failing to mention what break room, again, will hurt you. Okay, I need to know what break room you guys are, because obviously I don't want to go and give everyone a bad grade because one person from one break room has one answer and the other one from another break room has another answer. That's not my objective. I need to make sure who's where and make sure how we're communicating. To the point is that even if we get the answer wrong in some of these exercises, if everybody gets it wrong, I will still give you credit. My point is that we communicate, we agree upon a decision, and that is a road that we're taking as a group. If we need to correct it afterwards, I will gladly help you out and correct it. The teamwork is mainly the exercise here. Communication, teamwork, collaboration. All right? So don't be afraid to be wrong, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys, I'm sorry, we went a little bit over here. We're approximately 3 minutes over. I'll see you guys at 1:03. Unless there's any questions, feel free to drop off and come back on, please, about, if possible, 5 minutes before, but at latest at 1:04 now. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in about an hour.
Okay.